Hey y'all, welcome back. My name is G and this is G's Bookish Musings, where I'm sharing my love for reading at my own pace. So as you can see, I am outside in nature and I'm going to attempt to do this video. I might have to stop because I'm in nature and people are around, right? So I'm going to be getting my workout in doing this video. So let's see how it goes. All right, so I am going to be sharing a few of the recent page turners that I want to recommend to you. As you see, somebody was coming behind me, so I'm going to share these page turners in every genre, okay? Thriller, romance, contemporary fiction, and historical fiction. So the first book is going to be a historical fiction. I read this one during a read along. It's this book right here. It is Cane River by Lolita Tatamy. And because I'm outside and I don't have the books with me, I'm going to be showing a picture of the book and you'll see the author because I probably won't remember the name of the author. Anyway, so this book was about 4 generations of ladies, okay? It is a slave narrative and it just shows how these ladies were strong in their own way. They went through trials and tribulation, but the end goal for each and every lady in their generation was to make it better for the next generation, or just to make it for their future generation. So it had colorism in this book. Check the trigger warnings because it was a lot of horrible things that happened in the book as well. But it was all in the end about family and how each lady was determined to succeed in their own right or take some type of control, whatever control that may have had, okay? As little as it may have been, they did have some control. And I just absolutely love the book. A variety of emotions that were brought out of me, tears, of course sadness, heartache and pain, but also it was uplifting because I saw, I'm a Black woman, and I just saw how strong, or made me proud to know that these ladies, based on this true story, made it. They made it better for the next generation. Even though, it was some concepts, that they had, or beliefs that they had that I didn't agree with, but they had to do what they had to do, and I, can't blame them for that. So, Cane River by Lolita Tatamy, number 1. Okay, the second book is The Yellow Wife by Sadiqa Johnson. So this book was close to home as well because I'm from Virginia and was in Richmond, Virginia. So it follows Phoebe. Phoebe was a biracial woman on a plantation. She was a product of her master, and her mother. And so she ends up being sold because the mistress of the master did not like her. And so promised to make her future a living hell. And so she gets sold to a jailer and she's deemed his yellow wife, right? Which contradicts itself because wife, you think, is a beloved woman who's going to be loved and protected, but no, that is not what she found herself in. She was exactly the opposite. She was property at the end of the day. And so we see her struggle in motherhood and have to succumb to rituals that she was obligated as this man's wife, so to speak. But Phoebe was strong, she was resilient, she always had a plan. And the book was a page turner. I gave this book a 4, not a 5 for me because the ending kind of fell apart and was a little rushed, and I felt like it could have been wrapped up a little better. But nonetheless, it was a page turner. If you like historical fiction, slave narratives, this is a book that you might want to get into. Okay, y'all, so let's talk about some romances. Beverly Jenkins, you guys guessed it. Beverly Jenkins, you know that I am a Beverly Jenkins stan, okay? I'm always going to recommend the first book in the Old West series, which is Forbidden. This one follows Edie and Ron's love story. Ron is passing for white. Edie is a Black woman. I'm not sure exactly the location where she's from, but she's comes from Lac, raised by a mother who has an alternate lifestyle, let's put it that way. And she's hardworking, very determined, very strong-minded, as, mainly her characters are. Strong-willed. She sets off on a journey to make a better life for herself, which on this journey, she finds herself getting into some trouble and needing to be rescued by who? He guessed it, Ron. And so Ron sees this black woman. They do have an attraction to each other, but at the time, Edie does not know that Ron is technically white passing. He's actually black, okay? But she sees him as this really generous white man, right? That comes to her rescue. They do have an attraction, but they know, you know, in the back of their mind that this is a forbidden type thing. There's never been, you know, an instance where a white man would take a black woman and she be his equal. That just never existed. But we see how they went through this up and down kind of friendship. Some decisions had to be made as far as, was it worth Ryan giving up his life as a white passing man with all the benefits that came with that, and Edie being a black woman, how is, you know, how was she supposed to fall for this man? Wondering if she could really put herself a step into that place as this man's love interest. And so this book was such a good book. It was a page turner. Not only was it romantic, if you like spice, Beverly does spice just right. It's not vulgar. It's not, you know, you don't feel like you're reading a porno or anything like that. It's tastefully done with steam still. And yeah, it was so good. It had romantic suspense, the historical element as well. You're going to get a little history lesson, but none of it was boring. It was so good and definitely worth you starting this series. Okay, y'all. So the next book is going to be a thriller. I don't remember the author's name. I will put the book in you'll see the title. So I read this just recently, and just the title alone, you know, I had to read it, and I decided to give it a go. So this follows Lottie. Lottie is a elderly protagonist. She is a retired serial killer, just living her regular elderly life. You know, she's got church friends. She, you know, likes to be in the community playing bingo. She is a grandmother. She has one son. So she's, you know, settled into her retirement when one day Plum, this lady who's doing a documentary on people who were accused of murder, who've gotten off, she wants to make Lottie a part of that. And Lottie was not having any dealings with that. So guess what? She had to come out of retirement and start killing people to cover her tracks. But since she's old and she's been out of the game for a while, she starts getting sloppy and making mistakes. Y'all, this book was so much fun. It was more like a satire, kind of making fun of a serial killer. But I never rooted for a serial killer more than I have in this book. It was absolutely so entertaining and just a good page turner. Okay, so the next book is Francine's Spectacular Crash and Burn. So I read this a couple months ago, and it was very a different, unique type of book. I heard it was good. I needed a page cleanser or a palette cleanser at the time, so I decided I would give it a chance. And so this book follows Francine. She just recently lost her mother. She was her mother's main caretaker, and that sends her spinning, right? Making bad decisions. She meets up with a old classmate where, you know, some things happen, more bad decisions are made, and it was just a crazy good time, y'all. I don't know how to describe this book. It was very different from any book that I've read. My first time reading this particular author, but I thought it was really, really good. It's definitely very entertaining, a page turner. I mean, you're going to not hate Francine. I love Francine, but I just hated the choices that she was making. But sometimes when we're depressed and trying to navigate that depression, we make crazy choices, and, you know, maybe let people take advantage of us because we're just seeking love and attention and things like that. And along the way, she meets this little boy named Davy. Davy is a trip. He is on the autism spectrum, and even though he's weird, we just love him. So this book has found family in it. It covers mental health, maybe caregiving, taking care of like your parent and stuff like that, and all the things that go along with that. Just a good time, different type of book. Definitely a page turn. I would definitely recommend it. Okay, so the next book is Yellowface. I read this book a couple months ago, and I absolutely loved it. I went into this book by R.F. Kuang, by the way. I went into this book totally blind, not knowing anything about it. I've loosely heard people talk about it, but didn't know what it was about, whatever. Never paid it any attention. Just thought it was a unique title and the cover. And so being that I went into this book blind, I think that was the best thing for me to do, because it was very surprising what the premise ended up being. So this follows, I don't remember her name, I'll put her name on the screen, but she is a author, and she has a friend of color, person of color, Asian woman, who is getting all the accolades, all the book deals. This follows the author community, okay? So definitely about publishing. And so she is pretty much jealous of her friend because of her success, and she kind of feels like she is non-deserving, or, you know, people of color. This is around the time that people of color are coming up, you know, they're making their mark on the literary world, and she doesn't believe that it's justified. So her friend ends up dying. I'm not going to say how, but she ends up dying, and this lady finds her recent manuscript that hasn't been published and decides to steal it, y'all. She decides to steal the freaking book and make it her own, and we see how that ends up haunting her, okay? Like, absolutely such a good book. I read this by audio, or listened to it by audio, page turner from the first page to the last page. So it covers a lot about the publishing industry and a lot of social commentary regarding racist ideology, white privilege. Her white privilege was on the forefront, and I wanted nothing but for her to not succeed, okay? So I spent the majority listening to this book just waiting for the ball to drop on her face, because I wanted her to be revealed, okay? And so never hated a character as much as I hated her, but I think that's what made the book good, because I hated her character. But the sad thing is that there are people out here like this that feel like she does. I feel like R.F. Kuang did a really good job at kind of telling the truth, and so what, it offended the people. You know what I mean? Telling the truth, because I know there's people out here who thought of, like, the main character. It was so good. I rated this a 5 stars because how could I not? I mean, it literally kept my attention from page 1 to the very last page of the book. Absolutely loved it. I didn't want a copy of it because I can't see myself rereading it, but I would suggest it if you want to read something different. You need a palate cleanser. Loved it. Definitely would recommend it. Well, the last book, and I probably have maybe 1 or 2 more, but maybe I'll continue in another video. Because I think I'm gonna do this series regularly as I find page turners. I'm sure I'm not the only one who love a good page turner. I really do. I love a book that can capture my interest and keep me engaged from front cover to back cover. The last book that I'm gonna talk about is called My Husband by Maud Ventura. So My Husband is classified as a thriller, but it reads more like a contemporary fiction / literary fiction / thriller. However, I wouldn't call this a thriller because there's really nothing in this book that's very thrilling, okay? I classified this as a silent thriller because of the unhinged main character. So she is so mysterious and unhinged. We don't even know her name. We don't know her name. She's not given a name in the book, but she obsesses over her husband to the minute he comes home, put his keys down. She anticipates his every move because her fear is that he will find something out about her and divorce her and leave her. So her actions depend on how he acts. And if he doesn't act right, guess what? She punishes him. And y'all, she does some really unhinged things. She got this man believing she is so refined and elegant, and really she is not. It's just all a front, okay? She's just doing this to keep his attraction because she just does not want the man to leave her. There's one big kind of like turn at the very end of the book. You'll be like, okay. But I thought this was such a good book. Very different concept. This is a translated book, so it was my first, I think, translated fictional piece that I read. Absolutely loved it. I want a copy of it because I do want to reread it. This is a thriller that I could reread it because it was just so unhinged and so crazy. But I absolutely loved it, and I would recommend that you read it too because it was definitely a page turner. So that's it, you guys. That is all I wanted to recommend or discuss with you all regarding the page turners that I have read recently. Love me a good page turner. Let me know if you are a page turner girl as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.